Michael Saylor is doing God's work. He's helping with Bitcoin adoption. He's praising Bitcoin to the moon. And of course, it's very entertaining to watch him. But unfortunately, a lot of the words that he's saying are so much over the top that they don't really become very tangible, as in you can't really act on whatever he's saying, right? For example, when he's asked when is the best time to sell potentially Bitcoin, he would answer never. Or he would even give recommendations such as, why don't you put a home equity loan against your house and buy Bitcoin with it? He says going all in on Bitcoin is the only viable thing to do. And the issue is, for most people, it's unfortunately not. For him, it's probably fine to take on that much risk because he's already financially settled. He's probably got already several properties and he doesn't really count that as his main thing of investment. And so he's simply levering his whole company against Bitcoin. That's simply the risk he's willing to take. And that's fine, right? He's basically the man of his word. But for the individual, for most people, it's not the most viable thing to do, right? For most people, it's better to have somewhat of a balanced view on how to allocate assets. To have some money in property, to have some money in Bitcoin, to have some money in stocks, and to have this somewhat balanced out that even though the Bitcoin price goes up and down that massively, that in the end, this is not really a problem because you're balancing rightly. Is it really a good idea to take a loan against your house to buy Bitcoin, especially when it's so volatile? It might make sense for some that have very strong cash flows, very reliable cash flows, but for some people, it also might not. So this kind of differentiated view is very much left out by Bitcoin maxis like Michael Saylor. And of course, I understand why he does this. He does this also in order to get attention. But the problem is most people don't go beyond this, right? They simply just read the headlines. They simply just follow whatever Michael Saylor might be saying or similar people. And then they're not really thinking about what's actually the best approach for me personally.
This needs to go to 1 million or March buyers now will make millions. This is how you get the clicks on YouTube, but this is not how you beat the market. To beat the market in crypto, you need to be better informed than the rest. You need to be better skilled than the rest. You need to do better blockchain analytics. You need to track other people's wallets and know what is the smart money doing. It's the boring educational content that forms skill that doesn't perform so well on YouTube though. That's why I created the premium membership. Feel free to check it out. We are tracking influencer wallets to find out what they are buying before promoting this on YouTube. We've got a lot of tutorials to help with on-chain analytics, to help with wallet discovery. And of course, there are also plenty of chats where we help each other and also one-on-one conversations with me. So I'm messaging every premium member one-on-one directly. Once you're joining, you will get a message from me and you have the opportunity to directly pick my brain. Feel free to check it out. thebitcointrader.com. Link is down below.
This is an issue in general with the crypto market, right? There are all these moon boys. There are all the people that pump up the price. People want to see the price rise. And of course, when you talk positively about the Bitcoin price, you always say it goes up. You tend to get more views, right? Because this gives the likes, and likes in the end turn into views. And this then leads to an echo chamber to a degree, right? You're simply just following YouTube. You only see positive news. You think the price will go up because everybody says so. But at some point it will turn around. And that's then when you will miss the exit potentially, because you thought it's never the best time to sell Bitcoin. But maybe there is a good time to sell Bitcoin, right? And that time could be when everybody talks about it, when people that are normally not interested in Bitcoin suddenly ask you about how to buy it. It could be a good time when you're completely overexposed, right? When you only started, say, with 10% of your wealth being in crypto, and then Bitcoin does another 5, 6, 7x. Suddenly more than half of your wealth is in crypto. Maybe at that point, the risk that you expose yourself to relative to even this market situation, right, isn't really worth it. When you thought that at rock bottom prices, a 10% allocation is reasonable, and now the price goes up by that much, and all kinds of short-term thinkers get into the market that might be selling out or that might be panicking when we dip a little bit, does it really make sense that in this new situation to have much more exposure? It should be rather the opposite, right? You should be buying in heavily when we are at the bottom, maybe have 20, 30% of your exposure, and as we go up, sell gradually to adjust, of course, right? Because the higher we go, especially very quickly, as recently, the more risk there is in the market, the more risk for leverage is in the market. We see, for example, also now that the financing rates on stablecoins are very, very high. So there's a lot of risk in the market, a lot of leverage. Everyone is very, very bullish. And then potentially, once a retracement happens, that retracement can be very brutal. So it does make sense to somewhat balance your portfolio based on the current situation and based on your risk tolerance. And your risk tolerance should not go up as the price goes up. It should be the exact opposite, right? You should have a lot of risk tolerance when we are at rock bottom, when nobody talks about it, and you should have way less risk tolerance when the market itself is already risky, when it's already that volatile, and when a lot of short-term traders are in the market. So yes, it's always interesting to listen to people like Michael Saylor, but make sure you don't take everything word by word, and make sure you don't fall trap to get into this echo chamber, right? Don't stop to also listen to the critical voices, especially the critical voices that change their minds when we are in a bull run, right? The people that always trash Bitcoin, they might not be that useful. But the people that are relatively bullish on Bitcoin most of the times, when they suddenly switch, that might be a time to be a bit more careful, or to at least watch closer and check out what they've got to say. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. See you next time. Cheers.